Welcome back to another Kick and Post YouTube video. Today we're going to go over a middle round pick plus a late round pick. Um, we appreciate all the support from our second mock draft video. First?
Yeah, first mock draft
Don't
video.
remember. First
Early
mock draft
pick,
video. I couldn't remember
dual QB.
because we did a strategy video earlier, but I guess that was just talk. It wasn't a mock draft. But we appreciate the support on that first video. It was probably our best video to date. But we're gonna jump right into this single QB 10-team league, 14 rounds. How you feeling today, Mom?
Good about it, man. I do appreciate the support as well. Like I said, I think it's the most highly supported video we've had in 24 hours, so that's dope.
Yeah, so let's
All right,
run this up.
Get started.
Let's get it.
It's single QB, so things are gonna be very different.
McCaffrey.
And boom.
So with my first round pick, Derrick Henry, the king. A lot of running backs getting taken off early, as it is single quarterback. Not a lot of emphasis on the position. Even if it's like 6 points per touchdown, it's not really a big difference.
Bro, that's the thing. Like you see now, especially with my strat, things get real dicey real quick. So I'm at the 1-9, and I'm a little bit hesitant on Saquon's workload and how good the team will be as a whole. But I will take the risk at 1-9 getting him, and then on the turn I'll go ahead and acquire my second running back, which I'm high on Austin Eckler, so I'm gonna go ahead and stack him right there for my first two picks.
All right, so we see a bunch of other running backs come off the board. So at the 2-7, I'm actually gonna go for another running back. More of a reach, but I do like his workload. The workload he's set up for. Excuse me, Antonio Gibson.
I don't think it's that much of a reach. I think that's right around his ADP is in single QB. And I don't hate that pick at all. I think he also is a pretty good candidate to finish like top 10 running back, probably top 6 if everything breaks right.
So here's actually where I'm going to go after my first wide receiver. The young man out of LSU, Justin Jefferson. I chose to choose him over A.J. Brown just based off of, not that Thielen isn't as much of a target share guy, but I already have Derrick Henry. Don't want to have two players from the same team. Taken away from each other, but go ahead.
Rookie in redraft, I try to avoid the rookies because sometimes they take a little while to break out. I do like Kyle Pitts a lot, but at the third round, I feel like that's a little bit too high for me. I'm looking at the wide receivers right here at the third spot, not too enticed by them, so I'm going to go ahead and stack up again on my running back position. We play 2 running backs, 1 flex that includes running back. So if I'm able to trot out 3 running backs in that position, I'm feeling pretty golden about it. I do not like Josh Jacobs. I'm not hating on the Chris Carson pick here if you like it. I'm just going to reach, though, with the guy with the volume, James Robinson. Comes back around, and Josh Jacobs goes off the board. Not a huge fan of that pick at the 4-1, but to each his own. I'm going to look at my QBs. With it being single QB, I'm very likely to keep waiting on quarterback, even though there's a lot of the top-end quarterbacks out there. I feel like the position's very watered down when it's single quarterback. I feel like you could almost stream quarterbacks the entire year if it comes down to it, even more so with it being 6 points per passing touchdown. Because not many quarterbacks in the league have that dual threat ability, and the ones that do, they get almost dinged for rushing in for touchdowns instead of throwing them. So I'm going to go back to positions that I feel like, again, there's a lot of positional scarcity in scoring. So I'm going to dive back in the running back well so I don't have to worry about it going forward. And at the 4-2, David Montgomery, I feel like that offense is going to be very improved. I'll go ahead and stack him at the 4-2 and now don't really have to look at that position for the rest of the draft.
Coming back around to me at the 4-7, I am looking to get another running back, so it's either between Miles Sanders or Chris Carson. Here, I prefer Miles Sanders. based off what he did towards the end of the year last year. Um, with Jalen Hurts under center, he had roughly a floor of like 14
Yeah.
points PPR.
Yeah, he
And that is good enough to
he
start
did
on my
quite a
team.
bit with that when they switched out the quarterbacks and they had a dual threat guy back there. So
So now I target my wide receiver 2, which is looking to be. Wow, I really don't like these wide receivers at this ADP. But I am going to take a wide receiver that I think higher of than you now, Chris Godwin. And that means I won't be taking a certain other wide receiver later on in this draft, but I think Godwin has potential to be a top 15 guy. Just depends on his further
development, you think?
development with Tom Brady.
The thing I always harping back to with that pick that you just made is there's three, possibly four legitimate passing options out there, and it's very hard to decide who to go with. So I like to go with the cheapest option and also the guy throwing the ball. That's how I break down that offense necessarily. I don't want to. I mean, at the 5-4, that's a great value for Chris Godwin, and I can't. That's very solid as your wide receiver 2. That's amazing, but he's only 2 years removed from being the wide receiver 2 overall. So I think that's a very solid pick right there. But he wasn't making it back to me anyway.
Yeah, anywhere higher, I'm staying away from him.
But you see my options here at the 5-9. I'm gonna go ahead and go Robert Woods. I feel like that offense is gonna be explosive, and then coming back around on the turn, I could target a guy like Deontay Johnson, who's gonna get a ton of volume out there in Pittsburgh.
So obviously the 6-6, Michael Thomas comes off the board. Not looking to be back by till week 12, estimated. I don't believe that's a good pick. I don't think that pick will be made
In
anytime
redraft,
soon.
he should be completely off your board. We will be dropping.
Unless you can get him in the 12th, 13th round.
Which I mean, at that point,
Obviously, then you take the risk
back there. But I feel like we're gonna drop a top 5 receivers to avoid on one of our social platforms. He's high based on where his ADP still is with the injury. He's high on that list for me.
So with my 6-7 pick, my 6th round pick, I'm gonna go with a rookie who is apparently he has no hands. No hands at all. But I feel like he's going to be better than he's playing in the preseason. So kind of take a flyer on Jamar Chase. He is the wide receiver 1 there.
Like
so I don't think it's too bad. But
I mean, he's going to take a while to adjust to the NFL game. But in the 6-7, I don't think that's bad value. There are guys I prefer there, but I think that's great value.
So here I am in the 7th round, and looking at the tight ends, nothing really that I like outside of the top 4 or 5. I would want to get another running back, and my options seem to be Gus Edwards, who is the newfound RB1. The mock drafts on Sleeper have been adjusted to take out J.K. Dobbins, as he's missing the year with an ACL injury. So Gus Edwards in the 7th round isn't a bad play. I also like Raheem Mostert, but that's more of a homer pick. But he also does look to be splitting carries with Trey Sermon. Melvin Gordon's in a crowded backfield, so I'm going to go ahead and pick Gus the Bus.
One thing to watch out for with the Gus Edwards pick is to see what the Ravens do over this next week and a half. It looks like the talk of Gurley has died down quite a bit, so we don't really have to worry about that much. I still feel like a guy like Lev Bell is a possibility. We've both said that in numerous chats with people. But if nobody signs up to be in that backfield, Gus Edwards and then storing a guy like Justice Hill on your bench, can't go wrong with getting him for cheap off the waivers if you can. So go acquire you some Justice Hill. And if you had Gus Edwards riding your bench, he's in for some intense volume if they don't sign anybody.
Yeah, he could be league winner potential.
Sure.
If you drafted before the injury.
Yes. Here in the 7-9 spot, I still need to start solidifying my wide receivers a little bit more. Since I hit running back so heavy to start the draft, I'm going to start stacking up these guys, these high-value guys, receiver-wise. So I'm going to go T. Higgins in the 7-9. Great value, in my opinion. It comes back around. I wanted Devontae Smith. I didn't know who to go with first. But, whatever. We readjust. I feel like I can't go wrong looking at a guy like Cortland Sutton in the 8-2. He looked good in his last preseason game, and I liked what I saw. And at the 8-2, a guy who was a top 15 wide receiver before the injury, I don't hate it. So wide receiver position is looking pretty nice for me, even though I waited.
So with my 8th round pick, I'm going to go with a receiver who also had tons of injury problems last year, especially with his hamstring. I look for him to be more influential in the offense, even though he is technically our wide receiver 2. For the San Francisco 49ers, I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel.
I don't hate that pick either. Great value. I do feel like he has the potential to underwhelm, but I think that's a solid pick at the 8-7.
Well, yeah, he is he's not a starter on my team. I'm not looking to play him week in and week out, but just bye weeks, matchup dependent. So here I'm actually going to target my quarterback. You see the big names have been taken off the board, except the MVP, and I believe he finished QB2 last year, and I believe that he's super undervalued very often, and that's Aaron Rodgers.
You see the issue a lot with single quarterback leagues is we're in the 9th round and you're just acquiring a guy like Aaron Rodgers. The quarterback position is so watered down and so less valued in a one quarterback league, rather the superflex and dual QB leagues, that it's pretty much just drafting positional players for the first 10 rounds. Because Aaron Rodgers in the 9th, he's going to put up enough points for you if your team's stacked with the right positional players up top that you avoid taking quarterback that early. That's the one note I say in single QB leagues: fade QB early, because paying that premium for the QB is not worth it. TB was my guy I was targeting at the QB. He's been my late round QB guy in a ton of drafts, but I have a lot of viable options still out there. I love Ryan Tannehill with the weapons that he's acquired. I love a Baker Mayfield late. I am actually taking Deshaun Watson completely off my board. Everything is looking like he won't be playing this year unless he gets traded to Miami, which they're asking for a King's Haul for him, and Miami doesn't look like they're willing to put that out. The coach already came out and said he's looking for high character guys, pretty much taking a shot at his lawsuit issue. So even though with the value that he's at, in redraft, I'm completely leaving him off my board. In Dynasty, definitely scoop him up late, scoop him up for cheap, because he will play football again, in my opinion. But in redraft, I'd be completely off of the Deshaun Watson drafting hype. But yeah, with the options I still like at quarterback, I go back to the well for wide receiver. Running back wise, there's value guys out here. Michael Carter, I don't hate, but it looks like it's going to be Ty Johnson as a starter out there. That's another waiver wire guy you guys should probably go acquire in leagues if you've already drafted. Damien Harris is down here. He's the running back one in that New England's backfield right now. But don't sleep on Ramondre Stevenson. If you're able to acquire him for cheap in some leagues, go out and send out some trades, send out some offers. I was able to acquire Ramondre Stevenson in a second in 2022 or 2023 for Leonard Fournette recently. And I love that in a team that I'm rebuilding with. I love that move that I made. I'll be dropping a video on Dynasty rebuild journey on that team at some point. But right here, I'm going to go back to the wide receiver well. And I'm going to take... I'm going to take my first, big flyer guy. I love Jarvis's consistency, but I've acquired a lot of consistency at the top part of my draft for the wide receiver. I love AB's consistency as well, but I'm going to step a little bit out of the box. I'm sorry. I'm not going to step out of the box. I'm going to AB. I'm going to AB in this round. I can't say that I believe he's going to lead the team in targets and not go for him. So, take AB at the 9-9, come back around to the 10-2, and I will go ahead and take my tight end here. He is my favorite late-round tight end target in leagues as of now. I feel like he will finish as the tight end 6 to tight end 8, and it's Robert Tonyan. I love him in Green Bay, and I feel like he is the second best target option out there for them outside of like a Randall Cobb, but Randall Cobb's really old. So I feel like you're looking at Devontae Adams and Robert Tonyan in Green Bay, and I'll have him be my tight end one with this roster.
Nice. So with my 10th pick, I'm going to bolster my running back. Like you said, Damien Harris is the number one back, and I don't think there's a question about it right now that he has good potential moving forward to get the bulk of the workload as long as he stays healthy. And then with my 11th pick, I'm going to go with my sleeper tight end, Tyler Higbee. And that's based off of the quarterback they just received. You saw what he could do with Hawkinson in Detroit. Stafford loves his tight end. Sounds bad, but loves his tight end. So
I will throw out there that I probably shouldn't have waited as long as I did on quarterback now because I've been sniped a couple times. But I'm not discouraged because I look at what's out here. Still, we have Joe Burrow, which I feel like this is the lowest I've seen him go in drafts. It's kind of weird to see like a guy like Tannehill go above him. But we have Joe Burrow out here, who has 3 very viable wide receivers to throw the ball to. So 6-point passing touchdowns will be in his arsenal. They'll be trailing a lot because I don't think the team's going to be very good. So I'll go ahead and take Joe Burrow as my starting quarterback as of now. Logan Thomas and a defense comes off the board. Another thing we suggest, don't draft defense, don't draft kicker. Just wait. Acquire positional players and wait for things to happen. Because, for example, say you went Gus Edwards last pick of your draft instead of taking the Tampa Bay Bucks defense. Now you have a guy you could move for pieces or becomes an RB1 potential guy instead of just having a defense and then him being on the waivers for somebody to pick up. Come back to my pick in the 12-2. I'm really tempted to take this guy just off of the potential of when he does start. But with it being single QB, I kind of have to stick to my guns. I'm not sure if I'm going to take another quarterback in this draft. But there's 2 guys out there. It's Justin Fields and Trey Lance. And I know you want me to leave Trey for you, so I think I'm going to be nice. Hopefully I'll make it back to you. But I might take Justin Fields here.
I don't draft 2
I don't want
quarterbacks.
to either, but the thing is, like...
Unless it's in the last round.
The thing is, like, their ceilings are so high when they eventually get the start because they're both dual-threat quarterbacks. They both have very viable weapons out there, right? One's throwing to Allen Robinson and has an emerging tight end in Cole Kmet, an emerging wide receiver in Darnell Mooney out there. And then the other one has the trio of Kittle, Ayuk, Samuel, and Trey Sermon and Raheem Mostert in his backfield. So you kind of have to look at those options as well. I'm a little bit out on the Indianapolis offense running smoothly. I feel like Carson Wentz has missed too much time and it's going to take a minute to get adjusted. I'm going to take the flyer on Darnell Mooney here. He's one of my favorite late run receivers.
Side note for the viewers, in one of our second videos on this channel, that me and Amal made a bet on Antonio Brown versus Godwin receptions. So that's also something that's very intriguing. That I drafted Godwin this draft and he drafted Antonio Brown.
I forgot about that completely.
Meant to say that, like, I think it was either $5 or $10. I mean,
it's on video. We could go back and check. But
yeah, I just don't know which video it's on.
It was definitely in the it was in one of the early Madden videos.
Yeah.
It was in one of the early Madden videos, probably the first or second Madden video.
So in the 12th round, I'm gonna go for a boomer bust guy, said to be a wide receiver 2 this year, for the Chiefs in a very potent offense. Say Tyreek Hill gets hurt or anything, he's definitely gonna be stepping up in a bigger role. I'm gonna go with Mecole Hardman, the man out of Georgia.
Big Mecole Hardman truther, and I'm not too high on him, so it'll be cool to see how he turns out.
So on the turn, we got some defenses in there. Curtis Samuel in the 12th round is pretty decent. Look for him as a big utility guy in Washington.
Pretty wild with the projections that we've set for kickers in this league. A Jason Sanders and what's his name slipping me? Ravens kicker. Yeah, Justin
Justin
Tucker,
Tucker.
Jason Sanders, Tyler Bass. They're not, and none of those three are the first three to come off the board as a kicker. It's Koo.
Yeah, man.
Gotta
Gotta
run
rock
with
with the
young
coup,
Hopefully.
man. Dun-dun-dun-dun.
This
Let's
13th pick kind of
see.
puzzling for you.
No, because um, gotta scroll through all these defenses and stuff to get down to the man that I really want. Another late round guy. Please check out the Sony Michel video on
Wait,
our channel.
13.
One of our another one of our good videos. Sony Michel looking to hopefully lead the Rams backfield as Daryl Henderson can't stay healthy, and he's been inefficient in the
Yeah.
past.
That's one of the
So
guys we're.
look for him to
I think
take
me
some
and Otto are
touches
both
there.
fading at his ADP is Daryl Henderson. Just a smaller back. Never really been a volume back, and not expected to be lead touch getter in that backfield when they go out and trade for Sony Michel, who's a bigger back and been more proven as a every down back. I feel like it's going to be a very murky backfield. And avoiding Daryl Henderson in the fifth round by acquiring your running backs early in the first 4 rounds, I think would be the right move for you. We're here at the 13-9, and I think it's the right time to start shooting for some upside. Like I said, I love Joe Burrow, but as soon as these guys starting with the weapons they have, it's an easy switch. It's an easy transition. And because I was so set at the positions by drafting early and waiting on QB, I have the opportunity to take the flyer on these QBs in the later rounds. So I'm gonna go ahead and take. I'm gonna take. I don't know which one's gonna start quicker though, so that's also the problem. Like I feel like Justin Fields will start quicker, but I feel like Trey Lance. I feel like Trey Lance's
100%.
ceiling is higher.
Trey Lance is actually gonna miss
Yeah,
this
with
week.
he has a cut thumb.
110%.
He.
He has a chip
Oh
in his
really? I thought it
bone.
was a cut thumb, like a chip in his thumb. My bad. I misread the report. Yeah,
Maybe I
yeah.
misread
I'm
the
gonna
report.
go ahead and I'm gonna wait one more round. I like Elijah Moore a lot, and to get him back here, I'm gonna take him. It goes around 14th round. Baker goes 14-1. Imagine getting Baker Mayfield as your starting quarterback in the 14th round. Like, insane. Insane
Pretty
value.
insane.
Like, I really shouldn't have drafted Joe Burrow yet, to be honest. But I didn't want to go the whole draft without drafting a quarterback. I'm high on Rondell Moore. I'm taking this guy. His ADP should be adjusted soon because the targets are just opening up in Detroit. But like, Amon-Ra St. Brown has league-winning potential if you wait on wide receivers as well. There's a bunch of these back-end guys. I'll give you 5 guys to target in the later rounds based on ADP in the TikTok probably. Our TikTok page is going to get a lot more active as the season goes on. But Amon-Ra St. Brown is slated for quite a bit of targets now that Rashad Perriman was released today. And he was signed to be their lead target getter and has just been very underwhelming in preseason and practice. So look out for Amon-Ra St. Brown late because I feel like he'll be demanding at least 10 targets a game now with how much targets are opened up there. And Hawkinson's value goes crazy up as well.
With my final pick of this mock draft, I'm gonna go with another boomer bust guy, Marquis Brown. I know I said like I made the point of Derrick Henry and AJ Brown, but Hollywood and Gus Edwards, neither of them would be starting for my team week in and week out, and it would just be like, say,
If you're in a bind,
I don't know who has the worst corners in the league now.
He well when he runs
Yeah.
up, I'm pretty. Do we play the Do they play the Jags? If they okay, I don't know. There's secondaries out there that could get burnt pretty easily, or they're gonna try to overload the box to defend a Lamar and Gus, and he'll be able to get something over the top. I feel like the field will be a lot more open for him as well as soon as Sammy Watkins gets back to health and Rashad Bateman kind of finds his own. But my thing about Marquise is I feel like he fits the best ball format very well. I don't really want him on teams where I have to kind of like decide who I'm starting. It's the same thing with like a Miko, but that's why we're taking them this late. Like, I don't want Darnell Mooney necessarily starting me for every week, but as time progresses or see how it works out, like I can make that shift. But again, I feel like Darnell Mooney is the perfect candidate for best ball as well. I also think as soon as Justin Fields hits the field for Chicago, Darnell Mooney stock's gonna go crazy. I feel like they'll have a pretty good connection. I feel like the offense is just gonna go crazy as soon as Justin Fields gets to start. So we ran this quick 14 round mock. How you feel about your team looking at it over?
I like everything except probably Jamar
Okay,
Chase.
because you went sixth round.
Just he's so iffy in the sixth. Yeah, in the sixth round, I should have targeted
You could have
someone
taken
maybe
you could have
with
taken
more
like a Mike
upside, which
Davis who's in for a lot of touches in Atlanta. I'm not sure how good their defense would be. I know we waited really late on tight end, but again with the targets opening up in Detroit, Hawkinson would have been a solid pick right there. But you know,
for me, I would have if I were to have switched off Jamar Chase, it would have been for Ayuk, and then Debo turns into a different player, probably Robbie Anderson,
yeah.
to be honest, who's looking to be a wide receiver one there.
I am
So
really high on Terrace Marshall. I like his talent quite a bit. I feel like he's not one to be slept on. Again, I have the whole thing with rookies kind of develop slower, but he's been looking really good in preseason, and they say he looks like the man in practice as well. One guy I'm surprised fell kind of late. Chenault, I've seen his ADP kind of been going up. For him to go at the 9.5 is kind of wild. But if you could get a guy like Chenault at the 9.5, I think he's a pretty solid target as well. I really enjoy what my team looks like. I probably would have bolstered, thrown a fifth running back just in case, but I like the way I started off my draft for sure. All those guys are in for crazy volume. The only one I'm really worried about is Barkley, but at the 1.9, I'll take the risk.
my receiving core is just a little iffy, but I could easily flip one of my running backs later down the stretch, or because I drafted
I
six
feel
running backs.
I feel like the
So
biggest flip option I would go for is a Damien Harris. Well, actually, I don't know. Gus
honestly,
probably too,
Gus.
but the volume in Baltimore, they're gonna run the ball like at least 45 to 50 times a game. So I don't know if I want to give up a guy like Gus Edwards. In New England, I feel like they'll get halfway through the season and you'll start seeing some Ramondre Stevenson touches. So if Damien Harris starts going crazy in the early part, I think he's a good high sell candidate, depending on what the Patriots' record looks like.
Gotcha. Um, well, that has been this one single quarterback mock draft today. Like I said, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully, you guys made it to the end of the video. If you did and you didn't see our two quarterback superflex
Mock draft.
uh, strategy mock draft, go ahead and check that out. Um, thank you guys again for the support. And on that note, all right, y'all boys.